But first, there's so much to talk about, and that's why we have our segment, Hot Button, to get all those thoughts out.
Hello and welcome to Hot Button. Today we're going to be talking about superstitions. Are you superstitious? Do you have any weird superstitions? Personally, I like to think of myself as mildly superstitious, just because I get nervous, let's say if I walk under a ladder, but I'm not so superstitious to not do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I won't let it affect my life.
Well, I have to say that I'm not superstitious, not traditionally. You know, superstitions are quite interesting when you think about it, and they're kind of silly. I can give you an example of one of my made-up ones. When I was a kid, I went on a trip to the fire hall, and they showed us this video of a house burning down from the inside. And that just put the fear of God in me. Like, I was terrified of fires. And so I managed to convince myself that if I slept with my back facing my red glowing alarm clock, the house wouldn't burn down and everything would be okay.
That's really weird. It's like, it's one thing to be OCD and check your stove or the hair straightener or something, but to not be able to face your alarm clock, what is it gonna do, blow up?
I don't know, I didn't want to burn in the night. But it's interesting when you actually think about that superstition. It really came out of my fear of fire. Yeah. But it brings up one really interesting question then, how many of these superstitions that we know of are actually just the result of a fear and the desire to kind of quell it. Yeah. Now, I know that you work in the sports world, and they have their own form of superstitions. Do you encounter any?
Yes, actually, and I cheerlead for the BC Lions, so it's not only the players that have weird superstitions. So for the players, it's a lot to do with their numbers on their jerseys. So let's say when they're doing the draft pick, or however they do it, if a certain player doesn't get his lucky number, or the number that he's had his entire life, they get really weird about it, and they will pay massive amounts of money for the other person who has it, and just offer them so much money to get their number back because they're that superstitious that it really affects their game. Weird. And also for the cheerleaders, girls are really weird about their pom-poms. They look identical, they're all the same. We don't have names on them, so it doesn't matter if they switch, but we've had to stop practice for at least a good solid 10 minutes because girls just freak out if they're these don't feel like my pom-poms, I can't go on. A little bit weird. Oh my gosh, just a nice little fun fact.
That's hilarious. Now, what about you? Do you have any crazy superstitions, either made up or traditional? Have they actually bitten you in the back? Share it with us on Facebook and Twitter.